gallery, as part of Warning Contemporary Art, is given over to me. Okay, this is a painting called Metabolic Disaster Area, and it was one of a series of early Prague paintings that I made. This is actually the first one I painted at my new studio. When I moved, I got a great big studio in Cardiff, especially for painting. And what was fascinating about this was I was contemplating a kind of depth of field, looking into something, but also something chaotic coming out of it. And I would just kind of go into this space like a performance space and start moving around with it and pushing the paint around in a kind of very visceral way. So there were things redolent of the body moving through space and doing things, but also increasingly things falling apart, things being exploded almost, you know, disintegrating, but also trying to hold their own integrity, almost like net-like, you know. So these things almost became kind of metaphorical as well, by trying to hold on to things, but things kind of breaking apart. And what's fascinating about this, I didn't even know this was happening, and you can see it in a lot of paintings. There's these kind of explosions taking place, and my wife isn't from Northern Ireland, she says, you know, your work's all about Northern Ireland, isn't it? And I thought this wasn't. I thought this was about something else, about another kind of space. She says, look, it's all about explosions. This is all you paint. You just paint explosions all the time. And it's like everything is kind of exploding and coming apart, you know, and flying off somewhere, you know. One of the most recent ones is this painting, which is quite big, as you can see. It's 3 meters by about 2 meters. So I'm amping up all the time, and I'm also amping up the colour as well. If I think back to what I just said about this notion as a teenager, you know, wanting to get out somewhere, to be out of the city, to be in another space. I started painting this after a few trips back to Belfast around November, December last year, so it's November, December 2012, more right. And I was just looking at our Belfast City Airport, George Best Airport, Black Mountain, Cave Hill, all that. And this kind of, something kind of brutal in the landscape that always fascinated me, and looks over Belfast, it kind of hangs there. And at that time of the year, it was quite this dense mass that almost hung in the mist, like an overpowering malevolent force, you know. Like, I'm trying to break through into colour in these paintings, which was quite difficult for me initially, and try to kind of get through to another kind of psychological or even spiritual space, somewhere else, which is maybe even more cosmic, more out there somewhere, you know. Because I'm fascinated by this idea that we're so fixated on our human condition and where we are and the place at which we are, and that's totally appropriate as well. I'm trying to deal with, you know, a period of conflict transformation and post-colonialism and all that, and the residues of the trauma that many of us have been through, especially in Northern Ireland, but all over the world it continues. So, you know, human rights abuses, whatever. Now, that's at that level, but, you know, when we look and expand out, we're kind of like so tiny within the universe, you know. And I find that actually, on the one hand, I've always found that really scary. Ever since I was a kid, I would kind of, you know, when I was a kid, I'd go out and look out the back door and see the night sky, and I'd be terrified. It was like, you know, where's this all end? This is pointless, it's meaningless, we're all going to die, you know. And so all that's going on in these works as well. You're trying to come to terms with our mortality, our insignificance, our transience as creatures or beings in the cosmos, but also a kind of an awe and wonder of how we are interconnected and where we come from. Because we all come from the Big Bang. You know, we're all star stuff. Our basic components are all the same, really. So we're actually all the same sort of stuff, you know. So it's kind of, the push and the pull is really about that surface of conflict and transformation for me, you know. So that's pretty much what's going on in the work at the moment.